That button.
Hello.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi, who are we talking to?
My name is Harold. I'm calling from Calgary.
From Calgary. What can we do for you, sir?
Well, I've got a question on taxation.
You can ask the question on taxation. What is it?
Okay. I am investing. I've got a Canadian company. I'm
Yes.
obviously a Canadian citizen. I've got a Canadian company that's been investing in charged-off credit cards down in the States. We're giving them now.
Oh, boy, are we going to have a good one there.
Okay.
My question, of course, is what do I do about withholding tax?
Well, good question. Now, can I ask? I want to ask you a question. Are you making some money at this?
Well, we're just getting started at it right now.
Okay.
So I don't have my initial investments back yet. No.
How much have you put in so far?
About $50,000.
Okay. And when do you expect to start getting money back?
I would think probably within about the next 6 months or so. We have been paid somewhat, but certainly nothing close to our initial investments.
Okay. And what withholding tax are you talking about? Are you talking about paying the withholding tax to the U.S. government
To the U.S.
or to
government,
the Canadian
yes.
government?
The U.S. government. And then, of course, the Canadian government, I would just pay, based on standard Canadian tax rates.
Okay, so you've got a Canadian company or an American company?
Canadian company.
Okay. And the Canadian company is given the $50,000. Who is the $50,000 being used to buy individual charges in a factoring way, or is it given the money to somebody else who's administering this for you?
No, we've purchased them using the Canadian company as our name, I guess you'd call it.
Okay, so for the sake of argument, you've purchased a credit card debt of John Brown in Toledo, Ohio for $4,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you bought it
there's
at a
probably
discount.
50 or 60 John Browns in there, but yes.
And you bought it for 50 cents on the dollar, or what?
A nickel.
A nickel on the dollar.
Yep.
Okay, so when and if they pay you back, you're going to have money. Well, first of all, there's no withholding if they pay you the principal back.
Right.
The withholding would only be if they're going to pay you the interest on it. So what are you doing in terms of interest?
For the most part, the returns that we're getting is just really the principal. There may be a little bit of interest that would have been part of the credit card contract, but for the most part, it's just principal that we're getting back.
Okay, because something that you have to be aware of is that almost every contract, and I believe that every contract, says that whatever payments are made on the account is payment first of interest and secondly of principal.
Okay.
So what you may be getting back is only interest.
Okay.
And no principal. And if that's the case, you are likely in luck at this point because the United States doesn't charge withholding tax to Canadians on interest that's paid as a matter of a deposit.
Okay.
And I might have to do some looking up on this to figure out just exactly where you stand on it. But the two things we have to know is, if John, let me use an example, a Canadian example, just to put it into context, because this is the way the Canadian law would see it.
Okay.
When you buy this contract for, say, 5 cents on the dollar, and let's pretend then that you paid $100 for a $2,000 credit card?
Okay.
Okay. And he pays you, and with the interest rate, are you inheriting the 19 or the 10 or the 15% interest rate too?
Yeah, we're inheriting the whole account.
So the person who owes the money is supposed to be paying you back payments on $2,000 plus interest.
Yeah.
Under Canadian law, the entire amount that you receive is interest. So if you get, for the sake of argument, if the thing is $2,000 and the interest rate is, to make it easy, 10%, which would be $200 a year, and the person made a $15 payment, that's not enough to pay the interest alone, so the whole $15 would be considered to be interest, not return of principal. And you have to be careful on this because it means that what you're getting back is fully 100% taxable, and if you're now in the business of factoring, so whatever you lose is going to be a tax deduction.
Right.
But if you don't get let's say you got $2,000 back, that would be $1,900 worth of interest, and then the account goes bad or something. You put out $2,000, you got $1,900 worth of interest back, and the $2,000 becomes, in your case, because there's multiples, it's going to be a business loss, If it was somebody who just did a one-shot deal, it would be a capital loss and you'd be paying tax at a higher rate. And we actually had a fellow who bought a trailer court up in Powell River and financed the thing, and when everything was going wrong and he took a payout on it, he ended up paying full tax on the payout.
Whoa.
And didn't get as much payout as the principal was, and because it was 10 years or 5 years of unpaid interest in there, tax office taxed him on the full amount. So it's a good question, and I have to tell you that I don't know absolutely the answer because I don't know exactly what your contracts are. But if your contract says they pay at first on interest, then whatever you're getting is interest, that's for sure.
Okay.
And at this point, so far as I'm concerned, there is no withholding tax. If there was, the person that has to pay the withholding tax is the guy that's paying you. In
Right.
other words,
you're talking about my collector then.
Whoever the person is that's paying it to you is the person that has to worry about the withholding tax.
Okay.
And you as a corporation should be filling out what's a form called a W-8-BEN.
Okay, I'm familiar with that.
You're familiar with that form?
Yep.
Have you filed one of those with your payer for your corporation?
No.
Okay. Have they asked you for one?
No, nobody's asked me for anything.
Okay. And so I take it there's somebody down there that's actually doing the collecting for you.
That's correct, yes.
And they collect the money, take a percentage, and give you some more.
Whatever's left.
Okay. Well, good question. But the payer is the guy that's responsible for the withholding tax.
Okay.
And then if they do withholding under Article 11 of the U.S.-Canada Tax Treaty, the most they can withhold is 10%.
The most they can withhold is 10%. Okay.
Okay, so if they give you $100, they're going to withhold 10. If they give you $1,000, they'll withhold 100.
Okay.
Interesting. You got to keep me up to date on this and let me know if you're getting your money back or not.
I sure will. I mean, it's looking fairly good so far. I mean, you know, things are very, very scary down in the States right now. We have noticed a higher than normal rate of bankruptcies on these files that we're collecting, but you know.
Well, I've talked to at least 10 people. I actually invited a bankruptcy lawyer to be here tonight, and he didn't get back to me, Murray Morrison, who's very good.
Okay.
And I've sent another email down to a bankruptcy lawyer in Bellingham in the last couple of days named David V.I.S., and have suggested that he might come up and talk to us as well about some of the American bankruptcies. But everybody I've been talking to right now is paying off 5 cents on the dollar or 10 cents. They're doing a Chapter 7 with a small percentage, or they're in a Chapter 13.
Yeah.
And the other part that's going on that's sort of crazy is that the U.S. government in 2007, for the first time, passed a law that said that people that do lose their houses or have forgiven debts, typically if a debt is forgiven in the States or Canada, or if it's a business debt, it's considered a capital gain, and you actually owe tax on it.
Yeah, that's correct.
And that does not apply in the States. If it's some credit card doesn't apply to some credit cards, and it doesn't apply to a mortgage on the house or a line of credit that's used to buy the house, and you're underwater on it and you're having to walk away. All right?
All righty.
Good call. Thank you. Thanks for... How did you happen to phone us, just as a matter of interest?
Sorry? Say that
How
again?
did you happen to phone? Are you on
Well,
our...
I'm on your mailing list.
You're on my email
And I
list.
just got my email I guess it was earlier on this afternoon, and I've been trying to get in to talk to you for, I think, probably about the last 8 Wednesdays, and this is the first Wednesday I've been free enough to give you a call. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling, then.
Well, thanks very much for the info.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff. And we got Mitchell. Do you remember?